Timothy Simpson here with James Sheffield, a volunteer out here at Wormsloe. We're going to tell you a little bit about what we wear, what you'll expect to see as you're out here visiting the site. We're going to go over the gentleman's clothing in this video here, seeing as we are fine, upstanding gentlemen ourselves. First thing we're going to talk about is our pants. You can't see all of mine, but you can definitely see all of James's. Our breeches. Both of our breeches stop right below our knees. From there we'll have stockings, or like me, I have leggings, to cover up the rest of our legs. The breeches stop right below the knee, right above the calf. Now they do that for a very good reason. It's the same reason why both my leggings and his stockings are so tight-fitting. It's to show off our calf muscles here. In the 18th century, the calf is the most attractive muscle on the male body, and I'm not going to lie, I want every woman to see how good my calf is. Look at that. Now, from there, we start to have stuff a little bit different. Like I mentioned, I've got the leggings here. I've even got cloth garters holding them on. You can't see on James here, but he is also wearing garters, leather garters, like you would expect, to keep his stockings from falling down. These leggings that I'm wearing are extremely common. They're closer to the Indian style. Now, if James needed to go walking around in the woods or something, he'd put on something called gaiters, which are leggings just like mine, except they're usually made out of canvas, while mine are made out of wool. That's to protect his stockings, just like mine are protecting my stockings, which you can't see beneath them. If you look farther down, you can see our shoes. Now, we're wearing different kinds of shoes. I'm wearing Indian-style center seam moccasins. This is what the Muskogee-speaking Creek nations of the area would have worn. We picked it up from them and decided, hey, that's way easier to make than the Scottish style, and we started making them. It's like a sock made out of leather. James, however, is wearing the much more common, he's actually wearing two different kinds of shoes, which is really helpful. On his left foot, he's wearing the square-toed shoe, which is pretty much all you're going to see. On his right foot, he's wearing a later period, a more newer round-toed shoe. Both of those shoes are buckled on his feet, and the reason he's able to get away with wearing two different shoes is because when he went and bought his shoes, he didn't buy a pair of shoes, he bought two shoes that fit. They were blanks at the time, not made for either left or right foot. They would go either way. He didn't wear them into the side, different than my moccasins, which are sewn specifically for my right or left foot. Once again, these will be sewn for me. I don't go to a cobbler and be like, I need a size 12, although sizing like that wasn't around anyway. James would have got his shoes fit as well, and they would have been put on, and then he would wear them down. The difference, the big difference that I care about is, because he doesn't have a right or left shoe, they are awful. They hurt all the time. They never quite stop hurting. They only ever hurt less. Now, these moccasins here do have a problem. They have a soft sole. I can bend that with my foot, which means as I'm walking in the woods, I can feel everything I step on. But I like to think these shoes hurt if I step on something bad. His shoes hurt when he puts them on. Now, if you look up from there, we're both wearing waistcoats. I'm wearing an actual waistcoat, and he's wearing a jacket. Now, normally speaking, he'd actually have a waistcoat on underneath his jacket as well. I'm not sure if he does, but here in Georgia, especially in Savannah, it doesn't usually get cold enough for that many layers. Both our waistcoats come down to about mid-thigh. Now, that's the common length for the early 18th century. Now, as time progresses, or if you go back in time, the waistcoats change size. If we travel back in time, they get longer and longer until you get the tunic that everyone's used to seeing during Renaissance festivals and stuff. And if we were to jump forward in time to the American Civil War, you're going to be seeing the vests that everyone's used to nowadays. Vests are actually what waistcoats eventually turn into. Now, he's wearing a nice red sleeved waistcoat, or jacket, whatever you want to call it. And it's important to note that this does not make him a British soldier. Red was an extremely popular color at the time. Everyone loved it, especially here in the New World, where there were no natural red dyes. So James decided to wear this red coat here just because of how well it looks. Now, if he were to be military, his coat would be much more elaborate, way thicker, and he would actually have a waistcoat on underneath that would be visible. The next thing we're both wearing are our shirts. Once again, you can't see his because he's got that sleeve on, but his shirt's just about as baggy as mine. And another thing you can't see, because we are wearing all these layers, is that both our shirts travel down past our knees, making them almost like dresses. Now, the reason behind that is because our shirts aren't just our shirts, they're also our sleepwear. At the end of the day, after a nice, long, hard day's worth of work, when we're ready to go to bed, we take off our waistcoats, we take off our leggings, our breeches, our shoes, our stockings, and then we'd lay down and go to sleep, just in our shirts. The next day, we'd get back up and put everything back on and go to work. Because of that, walking around in your shirt sleeves is considered relatively indecent, and you wouldn't see that very often. Now, once again, we're in Savannah here, and although it's cold right now, in the summer, it is not. We're 10 miles south of Savannah, which is pretty much the frontier, so it wouldn't be unusual to see people going around in their shirt sleeves purely because it's too hot not to. The last thing we're wearing that's a little bit different from each other is our hats. I'm wearing your common work cap is what this is called. It keeps your hair covered, which is decent. Going around without your hair covered is way too indecent that even I wouldn't consider doing such a thing. My work cap keeps my hair covered, but it stays out of my way. As I'm working, I don't have to worry about knocking it off if I'm lifting things. It's nice and out of the way. James is wearing the military-style tricorn. His particular tricorn, if you look at it, is a little bit fancier. This one would be considered a fashionable tricorn. You would see people in the military wearing them, but you would also see plenty of people outside of the military wearing them just as well. He, on it, has a black cockade on his tricorn there. You can see that black there. Now, the cockade tells what nation you're from. A black cockade like that means he's British, as am I. If we wanted to show our allegiance to different nations, we'd wear different colored cockades. White for French, orange for Dutch, and red for Spanish? Yes, red for Spanish. And that's how you do your loyalty. That's about it for our clothes. If you have any questions about them, go ahead and post those in the comments, and we'll try and answer those when we can.